you have any advice for like online presence? Because I know one advice I always give is if you want to have a project lift off the ground or something, just post it. So many people like just have their comics idea in their brain for like 10 years and they never share anything. Then they spend hours making their comics in their basement and then they release it and they cry because no one read it. I'm like, bruh, no one knew it existed, right? But
Yeah. I
like when
well,
it
I
comes to you, you do post your art often, and even if it's whip, like work in progress or something, and I think that's a very healthy way to do it. I don't know how it makes you feel, but I it
oh,
does
oh,
sure feel
having
healthy.
people enjoy what I make is kind of what helps motivate me to keep making things. Obviously, yeah, of course. Um, it's such a social, it's such a connecting thing to have like your art speak to someone like that. Like it really is addictive, and it's real, and it really is satisfying. Um, I think you have a really good point that like just posting is the most important thing because a lot of people get it. This brings us back to the whole issue of expectation because a lot of people don't post their stuff because they don't think it's up to par
Yep.
with what they expect to be good or perfect enough to make and post online. But the thing is, a lot of times, here's what I've learned: regardless of your expectation of yourself, a lot of people really enjoy the idea of something more than the quality of that idea, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Regardless of how good the art is, whether or not, and it can be great, it can be like, it can be amateur level, it can be any skill level you want. As long as you're putting something out there, it will resonate with people in on some level. What level it is, that's entirely up to luck, timing, circumstance, all that stuff. I honestly believe time and place and luck play a big factor in a lot of like what people expect out of themselves and out of their success or whatever. But as far as the quality of the idea itself, I think like how it resonates with people will depend on what you put out there. And like the idea, there are tons of comics and tons of animations I can think of where compared to like maybe Studio Trigger or Disney, it may not be up to par with that stuff. But nobody's gonna really hold that against a lot of these people because a lot of times they'll enjoy the content of it, the idea of the thing, the like the overall intent and message that that thing is going for. People resonate with stuff like on a personal level, regardless of like how good it may look a lot of times.
One thing I really enjoy with you in general, you're honest about it because you did mention luck. I think not to take anything away from what you do, it's amazing, but luck is a big factor of it. Like if it's like if you knew or if any record artist knew that their hit song would be a hit song, every song they write would be a hit song, but it's not. And like you had
Yeah,
probably no idea Tinder Skitty would be that popular and
no,
um
I did not know at all. And also, if I knew or if anyone knew how you could be successful, everyone would be doing it.
exactly.
But
But
yeah,
the way you found out is because you posted a darn thing and people resonated with it. You would have never knew if you'd never posted the drawing in the first place.
yeah, and honestly, it came out of like a random circumstance of luck and time because like those comics and and for those who don't know, like Tinder Skitty originally came from a fan animation I had made um, of Skitty's voice hooked up, synced up to a Markiplier video called Pokemon Smash or Pass,
I remember
and
that.
it was great. It was fun. It just came to mind one day. I didn't think about it. It was just like, oh, this would be funny if I did this and this. Like I just connected the dots and thought, okay, Skitty on Tinder and finding Waylord. It's an inside joke for Pokemon fans. Whatever. It was funny at the time. I put it together, posted it, did a thing, and then all I did just randomly was just draw more pictures of Skitty and Waylord dating originally. Like I didn't really, and some character sketches of Skitty. Like I didn't do anything really solidly with them yet. But I saw people were really clicking with that. And I was like, okay, people seem to like these things. Maybe I'll try a couple of more things, but then I'll like, keep making other stuff. I wasn't really thinking about where I was going with this when I was drawing it originally. I was just having fun making these characters and just putting them in different situations, right? And I did a couple of drawings, not really thinking much about it, and then suddenly like the next day I wake up and I see like 10 to like 20,000 more people have just followed me.
I know,
Like,
like, because I've known you for a couple of years now, and
yeah.
that thing just blew like over, almost not overnight, but like,
In like a week, my follower count doubled. Like, yeah, I'm sorry if we're gonna go into the numbers thing.
no, but
I don't,
that's
don't wanna
really
get
important.
yeah, like, and for context, like, I had a modest enough following before, like, I had, like, 20K or something.
Yeah.
Like, it was still a decent amount, but, like, my posts would be, just fan art, random stuff, and they would do alright and all that stuff, but, like, one day, I make Tinder Skitty and I make this thing, and over the next month, a couple months, my followers went from 20K to now it's over 100K.
Is it? That's so cool. Sorry, I don't
Yeah, it's now, like,
like
at
watch
100,
them.
almost 114.
Congrats! Oh my god.
Yeah, it's insane, and every day I still look at the screen like, "This didn't just happen." Like, I don't the how? How? Like, and it all came from something that wasn't originally the thing I had set my sight for success on, or my ambitions towards. It was a thing that happened randomly, like, just entirely randomly based on time, circumstance, and luck at that moment. So, like, when you ask the question of, like, what do you do for, like, so what do you do as far as, like, your presence online, and what kind of things can you do for advice for that? I don't really have much. Like, it just right place, right time, luck,
But
which
that's
isn't
exactly why I asked the question, because like I didn't ask how did you make Tinder City popular?
yeah,
Like that's
exactly,
the
because I
kind of
would not be
question that
able to
I
answer that. I
hate in
would not
interviews,
be able to. Exactly.
right? But I specifically asked the question because I knew you would answer that just post your stuff. And if it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, post something else. Like just keep exploring. You said that at
Yeah.
first. Like exploring is so
Yeah,
important.
case in
Explore
point to what you
styles,
said.
explore
Exactly. Like,
things.
just put stuff out there, be consistent, and you never know where that will take you. But at the very least, you're always making something, and hopefully you're making things that you just enjoy to make. Like, I think if I had to add any actual advice that I'm
Go
certain
for it.
of, make sure that if you are going to do anything, whether it's comics, fan art, animations, etc., make sure it's always something you personally are invested in and that you like doing.
Like
Like,
don't chase the numbers for the numbers. Like do something you
don't
enjoy.
chase numbers for the numbers. Like, that will make you miserable. Like, guaranteed. Like, sometimes it's tempting to see a big thing blow up and do and copy exactly that. And I'm guilty of that too. I've done it a couple times. I'm not like
Aren't
I
we
do it
all?
sometimes too, every now and then. I try to minimize that now because I'd rather prioritize like original ideas and concepts and like my own things because
But
I,
that's why I
I
say we matured because we made these mistakes.
yeah, I take what I say with a grain of salt because I know I'm in a good situation to get my stuff out there more with that. And a lot of people are still struggling who may be even like 10 times more talented than me, or other people who deserve that kind of platform, or just need the right circumstance and the right time and the right place to like really hit their stride, you know?
Yeah, but you miss every shot you don't take,
I
and
mean, that's true.
you
You miss every
you
shot you
take
don't
your
take.
shots often. So
I have friends who have really cool ideas for like comics and projects and stuff, but they get hung up on making it as perfect as possible, and they just don't post anything.
that's what I
Uh,
meant. Like they never
eh,
post anything, and
yeah,
that makes
and
me so sad.
it's always a conflict of expectation that always holds people back from like putting things out there and like sharing to the world, what they can do. Because
Yeah.
once you separate that part of yourself, and just not worry and put your things out there, eventually you're going to hit whatever relative, attention and success you're going to get out of these things. Like, it may not be 100K worth of like attention or success. It may be smaller, larger, who knows? But like, the important thing is not that. It's that you're just putting your things out there and allowing the world to see what you're capable of.